Well, it's been an unsettled start to the work week. Temperatures are still near average for this time of the year in some locations, but we've had showers, we've had some thunderstorms, and we're tracking a couple of fires. Hey everyone, Darrell here from the Central Oregon Daily Weather Center with a deep dive into your most reliable forecast. We're going to start off with what's been happening today, the changes we've had in fire conditions, and what happens next, when our next dip in temperatures is, and if we warm up quickly. All that and more coming up here through the next several minutes, so buckle up. It's going to be fun. Let's hit it. We're going to start off with what we're seeing outside. There is a whole lot of cloud cover across Central Oregon, and in a couple of these cameras, you can see some of the showers off in the distance. And through today, we've actually been having some situations where you can see some showers. It's just not reaching the ground. That's called virga. That's when rain evaporates before it reaches the surface. Now, for parts of the high desert, we've been getting wet, and there are some thunderstorms. In fact, the rain that we can see just to the left of Tumalo Mountain in that bottom left camera from Bachelor, that is a thunderstorm that's just to the west and southwest of Bend. We're going to get to that and much more here through the next several minutes, but let's just keep focusing on some of these cameras. Willamette Pass has wet roads. Some pockets of around Government Camp have it, but look at Diamond Lake Junction. Instead of wet roads, you can actually see the sun shining, and that was as of 5:31 p.m. today. And so it's not like anything's frozen or anything. We just have some clearing in much of Central Oregon away from where these thunderstorms are, just not for everybody. We were just looking at some of those cameras that were showing the clouds, and there were still several spots that had overcast conditions. Meanwhile, in Bend, you can see some shadows on the ground. However, Lava Butte, Lapine, Sisters, Madras, Prineville, quite the opposite. We just have a lot of cloud cover with some pockets of clearing. Now, when we focus on satellite and radar, satellite shows the cloud cover, radar shows where rain is, and there's a layer that has lightning strikes in there as well. And so over South Central Oregon, that's where the target of thunderstorm activity has been through most of the day. There is a single cell over Deschutes County, a couple of them actually. We'll get to that in a second, but most of the lightning activity has been over Klamath, Lake County, as well as southeastern Oregon. And what we see over Pendleton, that's the shower activity that was over Central Oregon earlier today. Some of that didn't even reach the ground. In fact, much of it didn't. But when we zoom in and take a closer look, right around Christmas Valley, there is a thunderstorm to your south, and that one is producing abundant lightning between just to the west of Crescent going all the way up almost to the Cascade High Lakes. There's another series, actually it looks like just to the west of Chamold, all the way up through the high lakes of the Cascades. There is a series of thunderstorms and right over Deschutes County. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. These lightning bolts are going to get pretty big. That's just because when I zoom in, the lightning bolts are staying the same size. So there was a thunderstorm, I should say, over Paulina Lake in the Newberry called but currently just to the north is Sisters, running into the Deschutes River Woods area and around Mount Bachelor. So that's why we saw it from the Mount Bachelor camera. We could actually see that thunderstorm. These ones are producing frequent lightning strikes as well. So when we just look at lightning strikes across the state through the last 12 hours or so, there have been 1,100, almost 1,200 lightning strikes in and around our state. I say that specifically because over Idaho, there were some thunderstorms as well. So let's dive in, take a closer look over Central Oregon. It hasn't been too active. There have been about a dozen lightning strikes, a little bit more than that here in the last 12 hours, and that is as of 5:37. More are expected because these thunderstorms are still ongoing, and that's what we were looking at, was scattered showers today with the potential of a few isolated thunderstorms. Yeah, we're still in that. In fact, most of Central Oregon and a good almost 2/3 of the state has this risk of thunderstorm activity. Now, nothing severe is expected, not even wind-wise, and we could be looking at the potential for some small hail. I just haven't seen too much in the way of hail signatures showing up on radar just yet. So we are going to continue to track any and all thunderstorms that develop because we still have this red flag warning. Now, there are two separate ones on the map here. The one over South Central and Southeastern Oregon goes into tonight, 9 to 10 o'clock. And then the one over North Central and Northeastern Oregon going all the way from Goldendale to Pendleton, that one, or the Dalles to Pendleton, that one is going to be in effect through the day tomorrow as well. So ending at 10 p.m. Tuesday. I just put the later time on there. But going through tonight, things calm down, and then they re-energize again once again tomorrow. And we're going to look at a forecast model. We're going to talk about that. But I also mentioned that we were going to talk about a couple of fires. Because of Independence Day celebration, several fires were sparked. Most of them were pretty handled. Now, through the day Saturday, Saturday, there was Antelope Creek fire near the town of Antelope, and for a while, Antelope had a level 3 go now evacuation. Then it got expanded a little bit. Now there's not even evacuation on the map. In Bend and Prineville, firework displays caused some fires, as well as in Redmond near the fairgrounds, there was a fire there as well. And we are continuing to track the development of one specifically, the Coiner fire, and that one started up Saturday evening, and it quickly grew, and it had a level 3, then a level, or I think it just had a level 2 BSET evacuation, but either way, that has been downgraded to a level 1. So just during the 5 o'clock show, it went from yellow to green. So there is still a risk that things could flare up. And so fire officials and the sheriff's office are asking residents in the area just be aware of it. Also, be aware of firefighters that are out there doing their job. And just to be very specific with this so everybody is on the same page, this is from Coiner Avenue, or actually just south of Northwest Coiner Avenue, to the junction of Tethrow Road and Helmholtz Way, and then that just goes further to the south. And it stays on Ivankovich Way, I want to say, and continues to go just a little further south. I think this is Redmond 318, not quite sure, but it's also just south of Northwest Walnut Avenue, if you're familiar with the area. So we do still have a level 1 be ready evacuation. It's something we're continuing to track with you. Meanwhile, satellite and pressure show a couple of different things. First off, we're going to zoom in, take a closer look. Over Central Oregon, we have this huge pocket of convection. This is, we're tracking this a couple different ways. Number one, with radar, we can see some of those thunderstorms. Number two, with the lightning strikes, we can see where lightning is actually striking. And number three, with this infrared satellite imagery, the enhancement that's on it specifically pulls out the colder cloud tops. And that's important because that means there's more vertical development in these clouds where they're the bright orange or even getting into red. And so we have this cluster of thunderstorms stretched from Klamath and Lake counties north through Deschutes County. And that's where a lot of this cloud cover is coming from. There was a break in the clouds. It didn't impact temperatures too much because there were still some showers across the high desert. But either way, through the rest of this evening, some pockets of convection continue. A chance of continued light thunderstorm activity. Nothing severe, remember that. But here through the rest of this evening, we start to clear out. By tomorrow, we start off with sunshine. Then by tomorrow afternoon, more clouds and a chance of some showers. Now, most of us stay dry tomorrow, just as a lot of us did today. But there is any showers that develop are going to be tracking for the potential of thunderstorm activity. Then by the time we get to Wednesday on hump day, tons of sunshine. That continues through Thursday through Friday. So when it comes to relative humidity, we are pretty dry. It's not bone dry. It's not critically dry across the high desert, but our percentages are in the ranging from 23% to 40% for most. There are a few that are a little bit higher. And this is why, as some of this rain was falling, it was evaporating before it reached the surface. Granted, this is elevated relative humidity for the high desert this time of the year, but that's just because as that rain was evaporating as it fell, we actually had that attempting to saturate the column a little bit more, so it's going to take a heavier rainfall to actually reach the ground, and some parts of the high desert have been getting that. Now, when it comes to highs in the last 24 hours, look at this, 80s, a few 70s, and 95 in Warm Springs. Remember, tomorrow we don't have near the chance of precipitation as we did today, and we still have the same air mass overhead, so temperatures heat up even more. We're looking at 90s with some 80s tomorrow, but as of today, right now, we're sitting in the 80s and 70s across Central Oregon. That represents a 5 to 17 degree cool down in just 24 hours. Now, for tonight, our temperatures dip back into the 50s. A few 40s are expected. And then by tomorrow, we warm through the 80s into the low 90s, and it's going to be hot. It's not going to be too strong of a wind, but by the afternoon, winds are going to get breezy at times. We'll check that out a little further below. But when it comes to UV intensity forecast, we get a dip in that again tomorrow. Today, it was pretty low. I think it was 2 or a 4 at max, and that didn't even last for very long. And so that means low to moderate. By tomorrow, very high, but not as high as it could get when we really start to see the sky open up and tons of sunshine. But temperatures will be topping out in the 90s with a few PM showers. And then a dip in temperatures on the backside of this system that still impacts us into the day tomorrow. We are looking at a cool down that brings us to near average for this time of the year. After that, a gradual heating trend that brings us back to either side of 90 degrees. But for the majority of this week, we're going to have temperatures This week and this weekend, I should say. We're going to have temperatures that are going to be near average for this time of the year, all the while not too much in the way of precipitation. The high resolution forecast model just shows some pockets of areas that get a few showers. We'll come back to that and zoom in a little bit more. Let's actually look at the forecast model first. So there is a cold front offshore. There is a little bit of convection still over Central Oregon right now, so we're going to fast forward to 11 p.m. And that's when we really start to clear out. Between now and 11 o'clock, where there are thunderstorms, those fizzle out. Where we are getting gusty around those thunderstorm cells, that calms down, and then clouds start to thin out, and that's when we get to mostly clear conditions tonight. And by tomorrow, it starts off mostly sunny, a few showers by the afternoon. Notice no yellow, no red in there, so we're not looking at much in the way of thunderstorm activity, just a little bit of shower activity. But any showers that develop and some of that starts to reach the ground, that's what we're going to be tracking for the potential of lightning. By Wednesday, more sunshine than clouds. By Thursday, more sunshine than clouds. By Friday, keeping it sunny with very little cloud cover in the sky. Now, we have to look at the long-range forecast model, that GFS model, to really see what happens past that. But let's verify everything. This one does not show as much of a chance of rain by tomorrow afternoon. That I'm buying right there. And then by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, more sunshine than cloud cover. Then we get to the weekend, and that's when Saturday, sunshine. Sunday, more PM clouds. Then by Monday, in and out cover continuing into Tuesday. Yeah, so today was our best chance of showers. We still have a little bit of shower activity and a few thunderstorms possible through the rest of this evening and through the day tomorrow. I think this one's overdoing it. This is just a different forecast model showing what's going to happen between now and Sunday at 5 p.m. I just think this forecast model is overdoing it. But when it comes to winds, the actual gusts right now, not impressive at all. Some gusts could be reaching 20 miles per hour. Actual wind speeds, look at that, 2 to 10 miles per hour across the high desert. And they're staying light through the rest of this evening. We never really got that breezy phase that we typically get during the afternoon this time of the year, unless you were in and around one of those thunderstorms. And by tomorrow afternoon, 5 to 15 miles per hour. By Wednesday, 10 to 20 miles per hour for a couple of hours. But for tonight, we are looking at 50s with some 40s. By Tuesday, 90s and 80s across Central Oregon. This puts us hotter. This puts us above average, and this will be the hottest day out of the next 7. A few showers are possible, then back to near average for this time of the year. After that, a gradual heating trend brings us back up to either side of 90 degrees by this weekend and this time next week. Notice after today and tomorrow, no rain in sight. So a quick look at your weather headlines for this Monday, July 6th. We had that chance of scattered PM thunderstorms today. We're going from warm to hot and back to warm, and then we trend back to mostly sunny. And we'd still have a few thunderstorms showing up on the map, but notice even that one just outside of Deschutes River Woods and Sun River, just to the west and southwest of Bend, that is already starting to fizzle out. Now, it could cycle. It could get a little bit stronger once again, but we'll track that one. Going from just outside of Chemult through the Cascade High Lakes, a cluster of thunderstorms, mostly over the highest elevations, and the ones that are over Lake County look like they're starting to fizzle out as well, but they're going more to the east than to the northeast, so they might bypass us completely. And so we are tracking thunderstorms across the entire state. Nothing is severe, and we still have a few over Central Oregon. That's the latest in weather. Tune in tonight to Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. That next show is going to be at 6 o'clock on ABC and CBS, then at 7 on CBS, and then at 11 o'clock on ABC and CBS. We'll see you then.